Okay, the time being 7 o'clock, I'll call this meeting to order. If we could have Lisa Herrera, our chamber director, lead us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mayor,
Councilman Shuttren.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Shuttren, seconded by Councilman Berg. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. First up is presentations, and that's item A, the Green River Chamber of Commerce update, and that would be Lisa.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and give you an update today. These numbers that I'm going to read off here and present to you are through July, year to date. So we got 64 vacation packets and relocation packets have been mailed out, 11,400 brochures distributed locally, 6,993 walk-ins at the visitor center, and that's about where we were last year for our walk-ins, and 208 convention bags were distributed. So that's more than we were last year at this time. So that's exciting for that. Maybe. Okay. Whoop, now we're going to go too far. Okay, this year so far, we've done 10 ribbon cuttings and open houses. The first one was at the Green River Horse Palace. Second one was the Green River Bullion and Coins. I think we skipped a few, but they're included in your packet. Champion Services, Grace House, Edgewater Park ribbon cutting for the new park down there, Green River Bowling Center, Coltrane Coffee Depot, and the admin group. That's a home-based business, and we had that up there at the chamber. And then Stellar Coffee for their additional location for their ice cream shop in town. So we're excited for them to have an expanded location in our town. Red White Buffalo was awarded the 2021 Outstanding Business Award. Bonnie and Barry have done a wonderful job down there, and we were pleased to present that to them. And then our 2020 Volunteer of the Year was Tom Murphy. Tom really helped us out in 2020, so we really appreciate him. 2021 Distinguished Citizen Award was presented to Julian and Patsy Sorensen. Very deserving of this couple. It was amazing, the write-up that was presented for that when they were nominated. It was amazing what they do. They need to teach a class on how to volunteer. So, and we all need to take it because they are an amazing couple. They really are. We're very fortunate to have them live here in Green River and help us out as much as they do. The Green River Chamber participated and promoted in the Grow Home Entrepreneurial Program. This was a program that Sweetwater Economic Coalition offered, and then we helped promote it and participated. This was certified. Anybody in any small business and organization in Sweetwater County could take an opportunity to do this. There was online webinars. There was one-on-one counseling that was offered online, and it was a wonderful economic opportunity. We were glad that we took part in two of the classes. So it was well attended and very good information. We definitely can use that up there. Cleanup Day was held in May. Thank you everybody who volunteered and helped clean up. The dumpsters were full, so we were very happy to be able to clean up our town. This, as part of Green Month, part of Cleanup Month, we did a Green Month, and we featured a Go Green art contest and scavenger hunt for the kids. We wanted to get the youth involved in cleaning up our town. So thank you to Brad Rainey for helping us judge the green art contest. And then the scavenger hunt, PMS Silk Screening, they offered a free canvas bag for the kids who provided returned back the scavenger hunt cards. So we were excited to be able to get them involved with volunteering and taking care of our earth. Flags of Honor was next. We did this in July. It was our last event that we did. Thank you to everybody that helped volunteer and help us set up. It was a lot of fun. It was a good group of people. And then here's some photos of our little opening ceremonies that we did that Friday. Joe Levis, he's on our board and helped us out with that. He was our chairman of our committee. Some more photos, the American Legion and VFW, thank you for doing our color guard. And then the fire department had their big, huge flag up there. So it was a little windy, it was a little scary with the big flag, but we got it taken care of. But we appreciate everybody that, and I hope that you guys got a chance to go walk through and enjoy the display of flags. And then new this year, we've got a Tollgate member and a Tollgate community weekly e-newsletter. So the members, of course, are sent to members, but then the community is sent to everybody. And you can sign up online on our website for that. Anybody can take advantage of that. And then all of our staff up at the Green River Chamber are CTA certified. And this is that program that Sweetwater County Travel and Tourism for the certified tourism ambassadors. We attended their first event at the Fine Arts Center in Rock Springs. It was a get-together networking opportunity that we had to do, so it was great fun. We did that. And then all the employees of the Green River Chamber are certified destination marketing specialists, and this is a program through the Wyoming Office of Tourism. The first level is 100 questions that's online that you have to answer. The next level is 150, and I have not completed the last one, the Trail Boss. I've heard it's very, very tough, and there's like only 15 in the state that have certified to do the Trail Boss. So that's a goal to work on doing that, but that helps us with not only tourism in our local, but for our whole state. So if anybody comes in and asks us about something that's not in Sweetwater County, that we can be able to help them out with that. Then River Festival is coming up August 20th and 21st. Our shrimp boil on Friday night, and all the events are listed there. Here's a few flyers. The car and bike show will be Saturday. The duck race will be Saturday. Run with the Horses Marathon, half and 10K. We got in place in front of you is our new medals for our half and full marathon. We redesigned them. We sketched what we've got there of the horse head, and then the art department, they made that beautiful enameled medal for us. We're so excited. We got them in the other day. This is an example of sort of what we were going off with the enameling. I mean, it's a heavy weight, the silk ribbon with the imprinting on it. On the ribbon, we've got on the back part of the ribbon, on the one that you've got there in front of you, is actually a photo of the horses up on the Wild Horse Loop Tour. So when the finishers, when they get to take these home, they'll be able to actually see and remember the race, and what they've seen up on the course. So we're excited about that. Also, too, in front of you is the bib number holders. And here's an example of a sample of what they'll do. So instead of safety pins, they hold the number so they don't poke holes in your nice shirts, in your running shirts. And they have the City of Green River logos on them. So we're excited to be able to add that new this year. We currently have 97 signed up and they keep rolling in daily. So we've really pushed out the advertising and did a whole lot of different advertising through some major marketing programs throughout the United States. So we're doing that. And also our t-shirts, I didn't have an example. They're not here yet. PMS doesn't have them completed yet, but as soon as they are, we'll bring them up and let you see them. But those are redesigned. And then of course we have date night that we always present at the River Festival. It's Friday nights, perfect date night. Bring your spouse or significant other for Cajun shrimp boil, the spaghetti dinner, and we'll have food trucks down there this year. Free admission, live music, beer gardens, and fireworks at 10 o'clock. So what more could you want than that? It's a great time. In September, the Green River Chamber and the Sweetwater County Historical Museum is going to be co-hosting the Smithsonian traveling exhibit, Crossroads, Change in Rural America. This exhibit will be on display at the Green River Visitor Center for 6 weeks. The installation workshop will be September 9th through the 10th. We will be the first one in the state of Wyoming to be able to host this event. And so we will, those installation workshops will be held at the chamber for the different cities in our state that will be hosting it throughout the time period that this exhibit will be on display. So we're excited to be able to help the museum out. Pretty much everything will be moved from upstairs, and that exhibit will take up the whole visitor center. It's got interactive. It's going to be amazing. In your packets, there's like a floor layout that Dave Mead has provided for us. And we're excited to be able to host that. And we will be doing a ribbon cutting and an open house that you guys will all be invited. We'll keep you posted on what day that will be. So we're really excited about that. And then some additional upcoming events. We got a ribbon cutting this Friday for Green River Insurance at noon. So if you could join us then. Crystal's a new owner of Green River Insurance, so we're welcoming her. And then we've got the Holiday Business Showcase. It's November 19th and 20th. And then also tomorrow is our Lunch and Learn that the Sweetwater County Events Complex will be presenting. And then also John Freeman will be presenting on the Greenbelt Task Force Master Plan redo on that. So we're excited to hear from him also. So at that point, if anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Lisa? Any comments?
Yeah, thank you for everything you do. Thanks for your attention to detail and letting all the tourists and everybody that comes through the city of Green River know exactly what there is here.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Gary.
I would like to thank you for all the work you're doing on that with the Run with the Horses. That new medal is really exciting. And I've said this before and I'm only talking about me, so I never don't take offense to this, but us runners are dumb. and we'll spend a lot of money to go and get a nice medal, and that's really cool. And then I really like these pins to promote Green River, so thank you. I know that wasn't that easy to get all that done, but thank you for what you've done. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Everybody's shaking their head. Nice job, Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, item 5, citizen requests and other communications. Because we have an item on the agenda of interest to people and it's not a public hearing today, if anybody would like to in particular, but it's for anybody that wants to speak that's not on the agenda. But we do know that there's people that are interested in commenting on the cell tower. So if anybody wants to speak, now's the time, because there is not a public hearing in which people are going to be speaking. So if you have any comments that you would like to address the council, now's the time to do it. Just step up to the podium.
Mayor, council. I'm Amanda Shepard. I came up here 2 weeks ago. I wasn't able to come here last week. We were out of town, so I missed the workshop. I was able to talk to a few people who attended it, so I kind of got the gist of kind of what had happened there. But I'm just here as a concerned citizen. Like I said, my 2 boys that I'm raising here, the 4th generation, be born and raised in Sweetwater County. And I, plan on staying here until the day I die. So seeing these towers go up, I'd raised a concern last time, and talking to my children and stuff at home, they keep encouraging me, well, if you're against it or something like that, you should stand up and say something. And I'm not the type of person that usually likes to do stuff like this. So I want to stand up and say that I am concerned for it for several reasons. Beautification. I think there's several other places something like this can be put up. And I understand there's, I can't stop progress. Everyone keeps telling me it's just progress. And I do understand that, progress is going to happen whether we like it or not. But I think there is a point in time where you have to step back and consider at what you are, what point does progress have to affect so many parts of your life? Yes, we can have progress, but can we do it safely? Can we do it where it's not preventing, where you have chamber who are trying to get more and more people to come to this town to see how beautiful it is, unplug, take a break from, being in Salt Lake City or being in LA, California, come into a place where, you might not have the best cell reception up in the mountains or something like that, but that's okay. And I understand, the point of, as far as 911, I'm not totally convinced that that's something that's, any part of town that we've ever had to call 911. I'm pretty sure they've answered and come to our rescue. But, in this town, I want to be able to drive down Main Street and not see any more of these things getting put up. And I can speak from a standpoint of being a customer of Union Wireless. I have had their service for 10 plus years. And yes, there are times when I travel out of the city, when I get to a point where I'm in Sheridan, Wyoming, where I was last week, handling my father-in-law's affairs who passed away. And no, we didn't have great cell phone reception because they're going off other towers and stuff there. That is something that is going to happen. If you want perfect telephone reception, you're going to have to get to a landline. There are sacrifices that you have to make living in a small town. And those are sacrifices I'm willing to make. And I know there are a ton of other people that live here that feel the same way. I love living in a town where I don't have to see these things everywhere. And I might have to go a little ways. And I love going to the mountains. And yes, there are places where you're not going to have perfect cell phone reception. And I understand that. But I don't think it's worth sacrificing our beautification of our town. And I know you guys can't comment on the medical, the health risks. But I'm the type of person, I don't trust my health with anybody else except for what my research is and my personal experience. I don't trust the FCC or whatever it is any more than I would trust the CDC with my health. When I have a concern because I'm not concerned just for myself. I'm concerned for my children, for my parents, for every person in this community, not just myself. I'm not a selfish person with that. If I raise a concern, if I'm coming up and standing here, it's not just because I'm concerned about myself. I'm concerned about everybody. And I know you guys can't comment on that, but I hope your guys in heart of hearts, you guys do take that in consideration, even though it can't be something that you really can't talk about. There's all these subjects you can't talk about. And I understand that, there's legal points to that, but I hope it's something that you guys really think about that. Okay, maybe if there are risks to this, maybe we should listen to that. And if there are potential risks, can we please look at putting this where it is not in a range where it possibly could cause people harm? There's other places where they're putting these on top of man space. Put them out in Telephone Canyon. I think there are other options to look at that it's not just cheapest for the company who's trying to come and put this, because it's all about dollars. I understand that. But look at this at a point of view that if it's going to be cheaper for them, are you willing to save them money, but put everybody else at risk and put something in this huge structure in the middle of our town? Or are you willing to stand up and say, let's look at some other options and put this somewhere else where it's not going to affect beautification or possible health risks? And so I know I'm one person, I'm one small little girl in a small town, but I'm hoping that at least if I come up here and say something, I'm hoping at least it'll be heard and that'll be taken consideration when there is a vote. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to address the council?
Mayor, Council, I'm Pat Gaddis. I don't like to stand up in front of people. I came to the meeting, the council meeting, to 2 weeks ago, just because I thought I was into the aesthetics of it, of the tower, and I didn't think that belonged in our pretty little town. I thought it was obtrusive there. There could be better places for it. That's where I started. Then I heard Amanda speak, and I am not against technology. I am not against all the communications, but I checked into what she was saying, and she's absolutely right. I mean, I did the research, I did the homework, and there's an issue here. And I think that before we rush into something like this, and not consider putting it somewhere else or giving a time wait again to get people to understand what is going on. Because I went to the businesses that are close to the tower, and I was told that all the close businesses, people were given letters to tell them about it. No one had received a letter. Only one person heard of it today on the radio. The rest knew nothing, nothing, right there by the tower. I think that the town needs to understand more. I think more time needs to be given if this is really what you want to do. Otherwise, vote this thing down. There's too many ifs. There's not enough knowing, or keep it away from people. I mean, there are health issues to this, serious ones, and I think that that should be considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to address the council?
Mayor, council, I'd like to flip the switch for a minute and I get away from the towers. That's not what I want to talk about, cell towers. What I like to talk about is the Scotts Bottom Road and the lack of dust control. Dust control on the Scotts Bottom Road is horrible. I mean, the dust is horrible, and I'm a horseman. I'm down there morning and night. If I pull it, if there's people there, there's so many people that use that road, and it is so totally consumed all the time by people. If I have to pull a horse trailer past people, I just coat them with dust. I try to go past them 10 miles an hour. I'm not asking. I know that this is tough times. I know that money's not fluent. And I don't think the answer right now is to oil the road, but magnesium chloride, is that a possibility to do a little dust control with some magnesium chloride? I'd like you to think about it. I mean, if anybody that uses the road down there, and there are so many people that use it now they're can tell you it's bad. I know that you put some magnesium chloride on the loop that goes through the park, but there needs to be some on the road, at least from the end of the pavement down to the Red Barn or up to where it goes to the rifle range or down to Sanders Gate. Please think about it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to address the council that's not on the agenda? Go ahead.
Sorry for my tardiness here. My name is Dennis Laughlin. I own Flaming Gorge Harley Davidson. Just wanted to speak to the tower that you guys are looking at putting in. I don't consider myself to be a Luddite, concerned about the technology end of it. I can't speak to cancer causing anything along those lines. But I think an 80-foot tower in the middle of town is a darn ugly idea. And I would like you to look at alternatives. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to address the council? Okay, moving on then. Board and committee appointments. Appointment of Nick Walroth to the Sweetwater County Water Users Coalition. I'm going to read the Sweetwater County Water Users Coalition Board would like to have the city appoint Nick Walroth as a member of the board. Richard Matthew resigned from the board in June. The open position is a member-at-large position and has to be appointed by Sweetwater County, the city of Rock Springs, and the city of Green River. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Councilman Shuttron.
I move to confirm the mayor's appointment of Nick Walroth as a county at large member of the Sweetwater County Water Users Coalition.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Shuttron, I think seconded by Councilman Zimmerman. Is that correct? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item A, consideration of a resolution approving the 80-foot lattice type cellular tower special use permit. I'm going to read this also. The petitioner, Union Telephone Company, is requesting consideration for a special use permit approval for the construction of an 80-foot lattice type cellular tower to be located at 380 Uinta Drive. Special use permit review and approval is required for the height and the type of the proposed wireless structure. The Planning and Zoning Commission approved this request on June 9th, 2021. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, Mayor,
Councilman Jost.
I move we on table. Excuse me, I move we on table the approval of the resolution granting special use permit filed by Union Telephone Company for the construction of an 80-foot lattice type cellular tower located at 380 Uinta Drive.
Okay, do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on table by Councilman Jost and a second by Councilman Kilpack. Is there any further discussion on untabling this? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, it's untabled. So what does that mean? It means we're going to discuss it further, I suppose, and it,
Do we need to go to?
Or
motion
not.
number 2?
just
We
go to
need
motion
the
if you
second
want to.
motion, Yeah.
Yep.
Mayor,
Councilman Kilpack.
I move to consider the approval of the resolution granting approval of the special use permit filed by Union Telephone Company for the construction of an 80-foot lattice type cellular tower to be located at 380 Uinta Drive, Green River, Wyoming.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Was that you, George? Okay, so it's been moved by Councilman Kilpack, seconded by Councilman Jost. Is there any discussion?
Mayor,
Councilman Kilpack.
I have some comments, but I would wait till the third motion is made, if it is made. Unless you think that this would be the appropriate time to make those comments.
The
So I'm
second
waiting.
motion, we're considering the approval of the resolution. And the third motion, we're approving.
Now, what do we got?
Somebody explain that to me a little bit.
Under consideration, I can make my comments if I need be, but also under approving of the resolution, the discussion can be made as well at that time, is my understanding. Is that correct?
Right, so Galen, when we consider approval, that's not approving. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's the distinction that here. So we're only making a motion to consider, really consider the whole issue. Correct? We're not making a motion, a final motion to approve it. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I have some discussion.
Go
I
ahead.
might as well do it now because it may never get to the next one. So I'll just bring up a couple of the things that I've done some research on, and I really kind of need to have the union representative there because I have a question I need to ask and I need a straight answer.
Mayor, Council, I'm Tyler Toll with Union Telephone.
Okay, I asked you this same question at the last workshop, but I think it needs to be asked as well at this meeting. We have a few more people in the audience. And that question is this tower, and I need a straight answer, is this tower going to be a 5G tower?
Not at the time being, no.
Do you have any anticipation when it might become a 5G tower?
That's tough to say. The short answer is no. We do not have any for sure time frame of when that technology will be introduced. That being said, you know, there's parts of our network that we're just now introducing 4G LTE technology onto. So, you know, in terms of size of a company, and if we want to compare ourselves to like the big carriers such as Verizon and AT&T, you know, we're a very small company in comparison with smaller dollars that we have to, you know, make go as far as we can stretch them. And, you know, that type of technology for Union Telephone is going to be quite a ways down the road. And that's the best answer that I can give you right now.
Thank you.
Yes.
So that's the only questions I had for you, but I have some comments on that. The comments I have on the reason I asked that about the 5G tower is right now, everything in Green River is 4G or lower, mostly 4G. And I'm with Verizon, not with Union, I'm with Verizon. And so I did a search and spoke with the Verizon folks, and there is not a Verizon 5G tower in the state of Wyoming except in one spot. And that's in Cheyenne, right along the Colorado border. And that's the only place that 5G tower is. As I also done some research on that, I was told that 5G only carries 1,000 feet with a straight line. If there's any, I mean, that can have some obstructions. It'll go as high as 1,500 feet without obstructions. So if that tower becomes a 5G, which it seems like to me it might be quite a ways down the road before that ever happens, because if it's only good for 1,000 feet or 1,500 feet, you're going to have a whole lot more to do with it to make it usable to the people. So the concern of the folks that say it's a health hazard, it is not at present a health hazard, because we got 4G all over Green River right now. We're right in the middle of it right now. So that is not an issue. We can't comment it on anyway, but I'm commenting on it because it's not an issue. And so, so I did a little more research, and I went to a website called antennasearch.com. And under that antennasearch.com for Green River, Wyoming, there are 184 towers, 16 towers and 184 antennas in the city of Green River right now. And after getting some information from a dear sweet lady in our community today that made me stop and do some thinking, as I looked at the papers, the papers recommend that if you live within a certain distance from the towers, that's not healthy, it's unhealthy. And that means you should move. So looking at these towers in town, it looks like almost everybody in Green River needs to move someplace. That's only if they're 5G though. And right now they're 4G. So what's in my mind right now is and I received this from a staff member here in the city, Green River Comprehensive Master Plan. And then under Section 9, it talks about what we need to improve our city. And one of the things in that section is telecommunication. Support the expansion of upgrade of telecommunications throughout the city and especially in the business and downtown area. Future improvements to the high-speed telecommunication network will benefit Commerce and the city of Green River. Then in that same comprehensive master plan that the city spent quite a bit of money on, it also says pursue opportunities to expand. This is in section 6. It says pursue opportunities to expand telecommunications infrastructures to position the community to attract new and support existing businesses. So the question that's in my mind right now is, does Green River want to grow, or do we want to stay the same way we are? And if those towers have to be within 1,000 to 1,500 feet, well, there's not a whole lot of places you can put them unless you have a whole bunch of towers that just connect every 1,000, 1,500 feet. And so with Green River being spread out like it is, to me, that's an issue. I mean, that's a whole lot of towers they had to do to make 5G compatible. But right now, that's not the question that's in front of us as a council. The question in front of us as a council, are we approving this tower in town as a 4G tower? And I have received a number of emails, a number of phone calls, probably about only 25 or 30, but I've only had 3 against, and all the rest have been for the tower. And I do want to read one last thing, and then maybe I'll be quiet. And I received this from a concerned citizen, and it said, I want to express our support for the cell tower. Remember when they took down all the power poles on 2nd South and put up the big 10 poles? Thought it was an awful, ugly, awful idea, but now we don't even notice them. We want to see Green River moving forward. This appears to be an opportunity to do that. And we just need to decide, do we want to stay the way we are, or do we want to move forward? And if we don't get technology in this community, we are not going to move forward. This technology drives businesses, and it drives those opportunities. So I haven't decided which one I'm going to vote, but I do want you to know that that's how I feel about it. And those are some concerns I've been thinking about. And it's a big decision. The thing that hurts me more than anything is it doesn't matter how I vote. There's going to be some of my friends that's not going to like me. I don't care whether I vote yes or no. There's just going to be some people that are going to tell me what they think of me, no matter how I vote. So I've got to put the right thing in front of us. And from all my research, I just don't see a health issue unless it becomes a 5G. And even then it's questionable. So that's my comment.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Kilpack. Who's next? Go ahead, Robert. Councilman Berg.
Mr. Laughlin, can I put you on the spot for just a second?
Sure.
All right. So I don't know how soon you've gotten into what's been in the paper and how much knowledge you have of the issue that's been at hand for the last month. But my question to you is aesthetically, what would be the difference, in your opinion, of being a respected business owner right there where this tower is going to be built? What would be the difference, in your opinion, from a 50-foot tower that council has no say on camouflaging, painting, anything like that, versus an 80-foot tower?
I wouldn't like either.
Okay, because as it stands,
I just think a tower right in the middle of town seems like ugly piece of equipment that I just don't want to look at every day. And
okay.
I drive in that parking lot every day, and I just don't want to look at
Right.
the ugly tower. Obviously, we have cell service, so I don't see if 5G not the goal, then what is the goal? Why the hell do we need the tower to begin with?
Right.
So I guess, and then to that end, I am, ignorant to, what the whole objective is, because my cell phone works just fine right there.
Okay, because what's been brought forth to council is, Union can lease that piece of land without our approval. They can build a 50-foot tower basically without our approval. So them asking for this zoning change, or not the zoning change, but the variance is to allow the extra 30-foot from my understanding. So that's what I'm hoping is we can work out with Union. What could we do to make it look better when they could just put up a 50-foot tower that we have no say what it looks like? Does that make sense?
Okay. And your plan is to make it an 80-foot tower, or if you pass this, it's gonna be an 80-foot pretty tower versus a 50-foot ugly tower?
Something we can look at.
I,
We're gonna look at it no matter what.
Yeah, true.
the point that the councilman is trying to make is the law in Green River right now says you can have by right a 50-foot tower at that location. There's no review.
Single.
That's the point that he's making. That's what the law is. This comes up because they want something greater than what the law allows. So there's an extra layer of review because of that. But they can build a tower today. Go to the staff and the staff issues a permit. That's the point that he's making that I think some people aren't aware of. And I'm guessing you might not have been aware of that. Yeah.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
I will say that 50-foot tower will probably clear tree line in the top of the buildings by about 15 to 20 feet versus 50 feet.
Right.
So
Right.
that's a considerable, you look at the skyline across that area, and that's a substantial difference.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. No question about that. Councilman, are you done, Councilman Burke?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Zimmerman.
I live 2 blocks from where that tower is proposed to go up. And I think I heard the mayor say the other week that he would prefer it not to be built in his backyard. So it is in my backyard. And my wife and I walk those streets every day, twice a day. And so we talk to people regularly, face to face, and every constituent in that half of Ward 1, every constituent I talk to does not want the tower there. They said it's the aesthetics. They're not against the technology. They're not against that at all. But I think the misconception here is that everybody's looking at this is we either have to have the technology or not the tower. It's one or the other, where I don't see it that way. In fact, during the workshop, the union representative, he's not here tonight, but he was there Tuesday, was asked if the situation was still available for multiple smaller towers mingled around town rather than this large obtrusive tower in the middle of town. And he said, yes, that's definitely could happen, but it would cost more money. So it came down to him telling us that it would cost more money for Union to spread them out through town and make it less obtrusive. And well, maybe that's just the option we have to look at. So I don't think it's, well, if we don't vote the tower in, we don't get the technology. I don't think that's the option here. And that's what people are looking at. I think that if we vote this tower down, that the union engineers will find some other way to network this through our city and put them at places where maybe it's acceptable. I myself in my younger years was a telephony engineer. I worked for Continental Telephone for 10 years, and I know it's outdated. It's fiber optics and digital switches I designed and put into towns. And I know it's obsolete equipment, but we're talking about engineers that can do just about anything with the signal. They can do what they need to do. And I think what we're seeing here is the first option, the best option for Union Telephone is to put this tower at this site, this big tower, and it's the cheapest option they have. I mean, they said it, pretty much said it, where we're saying that this is not the best. We don't think this is the best place aesthetically to put this tower. I'm not talking about any of the other issues. Just aesthetically, us seeing this tower day in and day out. But I represent Ward 1, so does Miss Bushman. But I live up by this tower, and I can see this tower. I'll see it every day, especially walking down Hutton Street. It'll be front and center, and it's just going to be in our view shed. And I think we have to take that into consideration. I don't think if we vote down this tower tonight, or we table it and we vote it down some other time, it's not going to stop the technology. They're going to engineer. These are smart guys. They're going to engineer around this, or they're going to be left behind by the Verizons and the ATTs. So they're smart guys. They're going to engineer it some other way. The guy told us, I don't know if it was during the workshop or the Tuesday before, he said that one of the dead areas, one of the areas they're trying to fix is up in Hutton Heights. Well, that's where I live, in Hutton Heights. So behind me is the water tower. Behind me is Man's Face. Behind me, all other towers. I'm sure a tower back in that area would certainly help the signal for Union in our development. I think that's pretty basic engineering. But this one here is going to span the whole town. I know it's centrally located, but I think it comes down to money. I think it comes down, and they pretty much said it last week. So are we willing to sell our view shed? Are we willing to, as our brother here that owns the Harley Davidson shop, are we willing to give away that center of town? We willing to look at that monster? And this is not, as Councilman Berg and the mayor said, the 50-foot pole is a single pole. That's just a straight single pole. This is a lattice tower. This is a monster. And so are we willing to give away our view shed? We willing to give away the small town feel like Amanda talked about? Are we willing to give that away? Or are we willing to say, no, you got to come up with a better idea. You got to engineer this a different way. I personally would rather see 3 towers replace this at 30 foot all over town. I would rather see that. And I would certainly rather see one in Pete's yard. So maybe we can work that out. But that's why I'm against the tower at this location. It's aesthetically unpleasing. And so that's my say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Zimmerman. I know everybody's so who's next up? Not my Councilwoman Bushman.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, I had a question for Chief Jarvie. Sorry, didn't email you earlier. I was working early today. It's just kind of a recap. That way everyone would know. So you mentioned that that first net is the one that's contracted for Union in order to upgrade the first responder system or the cell service, more or less, correct?
Yes, FirstNet is currently being built out in our area, even though the folks from Union didn't specify that directly. They said it's for a first responder network, which is obviously FirstNet. Yes.
Okay. And so 2 questions. First one, if this is turned down, does it deter from you and from the fire station? Because you guys you guys have the Union service.
We currently don't have Union service.
Oh.
Okay. And
misunderstood.
FirstNet is separate from any one carrier. It's being contracted through AT&T to build out and manage.
Okay.
But that's different than Union owning it. And that's why Union refers to it as co-location, because it's not their equipment. It's somebody else's equipment on their tower. So that's the co-location part they were talking about.
Okay. That's a lot clearer. And because there's drop zones in the Hutton Heights area, because, trying to get a hold of dispatch, what have you, is there, I don't know if there really have any numbers, no, is there a percent of that? I don't know if that's really known.
Yeah, currently, I don't think that we have any major coverage problems in town with the technology we currently have deployed. The difference is, and the reason FirstNet is being pushed out across the nation, is interconnectivity and future-proof type of connectivity. Okay, so currently, right now, we have small amount of data being pushed from dispatch center to our patrol cars through cell service. There's two things that FirstNet does. Okay, first, they make a government-controlled redundant system separate from anything else. So if you have a major disaster, FirstNet coverage is redundant and takes priority. So, for instance, have a huge fiery crash on the interstate. Everybody fires up their cell phones. If you don't have something like FirstNet in place, suddenly your first responders' communications go down. Okay, so that's the whole purpose behind FirstNet, is to keep it redundant, to keep it so public safety can always do their job regardless of what's going on. And then as things move forward, like we're currently getting more people wanting to text pictures into dispatch and video into dispatch. At some point, we're probably going to want the ability to see an officer's body camera live while they're on a scene, streamed through their connection. Those are all things we can't necessarily do right now that FirstNet going forward is probably going to open up for us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And then I just had one other comment, because everyone was, thank you very much. Concerns with the tower. And I made a mention, and I know, Amanda, you're worried about your children, have you, but someone brought to my attention as well that, I gave the example, I work remote. I'm always promoting about employment. I'm in the staffing agency world. And there's more people that work remote, that money stays here economically. If we don't have the technology to do our work, we're going to have to go somewhere else. Do you want those dollars to go out? So it's those things that we have to really kind of look at. And then, and thank you so much for clarifying that, because public safety is always number one, right? You can't put a price on someone's life. I mentioned that today. I actually do a little bit, yeah. No, I have Verizon, but I ping off universal LTE when the power goes out. When we had that storm, I'm able to plug in and roam it. It actually has the universal, the LTE, so it's closer to me. But I do have Verizon. But I'm just saying, in situations online, kids are at home doing online schooling. I'm just looking at that side of those, just another angle, looking at, what the benefits are for the tower. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just trying to bring more information onto, to everyone as well. So those are my comments.
Okay. Did you want to speak?
Can I just say one thing before he speaks?
Hang on a second. No, let him speak, and then we're going to come back. Okay.
Just a few quick things. Kind of covered a lot of bases in the past 10 or so minutes. So I kind of just wrote down a few things that I wanted to bring up real quick. First of all, thanks very much for kind of going into kind of the FirstNet side of things. As I mentioned at one of the first meetings that I was here, we are kind of limited as to what we can say due to non-disclosure agreements and what I can actually discuss in terms of FirstNet. So I appreciate you kind of going into some depth and kind of explaining why that's important. That is what's driving this project. We have been contracted by the co-locator, which is AT&T, to deploy FirstNet in parts of Wyoming where we operate today. As I stated at the last council meeting, Currently, we're on Green River High School. Adding equipment to a roof is just not viable. It's just not structurally adequate to support added weight in the same location that we're at today. That being said, yes, this is a central location to deploy these technologies. It touches Hutton Heights, but it also is strategically placed. Yes, this is our option one, as you mentioned. Monopole. A monopole is 6 feet wide at the base. A lattice tower is 10 feet wide at the base. So, and I think that, you know, people have a preference, or, you know, they don't mind a tower, or they do. I just wanted to make that clear. A single monopole is a robust structure. It's 6 feet wide, you know, and it's solid. The lattice tower, 10 feet wide, which lets a lot of the view shed through. And I'm not saying that it's smaller or better, but just something to consider. And the last thing that I wanted to touch on is there's been a lot of talk about beautification. Okay. And I know for a fact, and Councilman Kilpack has brought this up, that lot is somewhat difficult to develop for a variety of reasons. One is there's private water and sewer that's not necessarily owned by the municipality or maintained by that. I think that's kind of a red flag for certain things. This would be an unmanned facility that we have, you know, we have wanted to maintain this, you know, we want to fence it. We want to add some landscaping around it, prevent some of that trespass that's going on from the apartment complexes into the shopping center by fencing and installing, excuse me, the landscape. You know, the tower is one thing. Like I said, it's going to be received by some, and some people won't like it in their view shed, and I understand that. But I just want it to be known that we are wanting to, you know, help with the beautification and development of this lot. And with this being an unmanned facility, we think this is a good opportunity for something to be there rather than a vacant lot. So that's just all I wanted to touch on. And I'll hang out here if you folks have any other questions for us. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Kilpack.
All I wanted to say is, I just want to defend the city in one aspect that was brought up. I don't know who brought it up, but talked about letters, people not being notified. I'm the liaison with the plant P&Z, and I know for a fact that they did what they were supposed to do, and they did send out the letters to everybody in that area. They have to draw a circle. I don't know whether it's 2 miles or 10 feet. It's there, and they have to notify all those people. And I want to defend them and say that has been done. They can't make people read a letter, but that was done. So people was notified within that vicinity.
Can I just add one thing to that, Councilman? You know, a lot of those businesses are owned by corporations and private owners that are, you know, Atlanta, Georgia, or where have you, all over the US. So that might be some of the reason that, you know, the local folks that are maybe leasing those structures haven't got a notice. So just something to think about.
Okay, we're on suggested motion number 2, and I'm going to give my comments finally before we move on to the final one. I want to say I agree 100% with Councilman Zimmerman in the sense that this isn't a technology or not a technology. This is a location issue. You don't have to not have technology. You don't have to not have progress. You don't not have to be business friendly. None of those things have to exist because you happen to think that this particular location is not the best location. You can have technology in this community. You can be sensitive to that. We can be a progressive community. We can actively pursue those things. And if there's a market for these people, the market's there. It's going to be there. They're going to make it, as Councilman Zimmerman says, because engineers are smart and business people are smart, and that's what they do in order to make the market. This is all about location. And the biggest thing that is really an issue seems to be height. That's it, because height is the most visible thing. That's what it's all about. It can go into alternative locations and we can still be a progressive, technology oriented. We can still do the things in terms of emergency services. It can go. The reality is, and I'm not even going to talk about anything to do with business. So that's just my opinion. Everybody else has expressed their opinion. So we have a motion. We have a second. We've had discussion. All in favor of this motion, number 2, to consider approval of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now, suggested motion 3 is actually the motion which is either going to decide that we're going to approve this, we're not going to approve it, or we're going to table it. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Councilman Kilpack.
I move to approve the resolution granting approval of the special use permit filed by Union Telephone Company for the construction of an 80-foot lattice type cellular tower to be located at 380 Uena Drive, Green River, Wyoming.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Kilpack, seconded by Councilman Jost. Now, I guess again, we can continue on in discussing, or we've really kind of discussed this, I think. I don't see any reason at this point unless somebody else feels that they want to say something. George, go ahead.
Yeah. The only thing I'd like to say is, it's a tough position to be in up here on the council. You got businesses that want to expand. You got citizens that don't like the idea of what they're doing because of views or whatever the reason. It doesn't matter. And we get those comments back to us all the time. And, so it's a tough spot to be. You get them both ways. You got your own feelings plus what everybody else has. But just so you understand, it's not an easy vote to take. But I am going to vote, and we'll go from there. And I'll vote in favor also, just to be upfront about it. But
Okay, anybody, Councilwoman Bushman?
I just want to make a comment too, just so that way, most of you understand. I wanted to make sure that, everyone understood about the public safety of it. But everyone knows I did a Facebook page to both my pages and did a poll, and 95% of it was in favor. So I have, based on that, regardless of what my personal feelings are, I have to go by my constituents. That's my comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Zimmerman.
I believe wholeheartedly that if we hadn't made the issue of the EIT, that this tower would probably have been voted down tonight. But let me ask you this, is that the only place the EIT repeaters would work, at that location?
Is that the only place that they would work?
Yes.
I guess the short answer to that would be no, because like you mentioned, if money and time are no object, there will be a solution found. This is our preferred option for a variety of reasons that I believe I have addressed.
Exactly.
And that's, what we're here to pursue tonight.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else?
And I think regardless of what we vote tonight, I mean, the reality is we still could end up with a 50-foot tower in the exact same spot. The only other alternative to that would be volume of equipment rather than centrally located. And that volume of equipment might be what some people think is not intrusive to them, may become intrusive to the others that are left to deal with the smaller equipment that's spread throughout the community. So
okay.
I think it's a double-edged sword either way we go with it.
Anyone else? Okay, we're at all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
No.
Mayor, could we have I had asked for a.
Yeah, absolutely. Councilman Kilpack, Councilman Shetron,
Aye.
Councilman Berg,
Aye.
Councilman Zimmerman,
Nay.
and I'm voting nay. Okay, it's approved. Council action items, thank you. Council action items. A, consideration of a service line agreement with Dominion Energy for the Shoshone Pump Station. Should I just read this or is somebody else gonna? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I'm Jason Palmer, the utility superintendent or environmental systems superintendent. We've gone through name changes. So this is basically one of our water pump stations. It's our third redundant pump station, but we're trying to, currently we use electric heat there and it's pretty inefficient. We end up with a high electrical bill during the winter months with this. And we just did a retrofit here a couple of years ago at an additional pump station. And it basically paid for the equipment that first winter. So that's kind of what we're asking for with this is to get natural gas into there and switch that over to natural gas heat.
Sounds good, Jason. Anybody have any questions for Jason? This is the city taking the initiative to save some money and do some, a good thing. Good for you. Okay, we'll entertain a motion then.
Mayor?
Who was that?
Me.
Councilman Zimmerman.
I move to approve the service line agreement with Dominion Energy for the Shoshone Pump Station in the amount of $392.58 and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Zimmerman, second by Councilman Berg. Is there any further discussion? Seeing that, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Consideration of a memorandum of understanding between the city of Rock Springs and the city of Green River to investigate the possibility of entering into a joint biosolids handling program. Jason.
So we've, Jason Palmer, utilities superintendent again. We actually have a need for this biosolids handling program as we move in with the new activated sludge plant. Currently, our solids rest in the bottom of the lagoons. The microbes eat it. Eventually, when we go from the lagoon system over to the activated sludge, we'll have to treat that sludge that's at the bottom of those lagoons as well before we can reclaim that property. And the new activated sludge plant will produce that as well. Instead of going with two separate sites, Rock Springs is looking at a site that's out of town type thing. That's kind of what we're looking at as well, because that's where the odor comes from at a wastewater plant is these solids. So we're looking at doing this jointly. So we have one site, one piece, or not duplicate equipment, not duplicate other things as well. We'd like to try and do this as a joint venture and not double this stuff up and try and save both communities money on this. So
Imagine partnering. My goodness. Good for you guys and good for you to have taken the initiative to do that. And I think it's all part of what is something that we tend to be working together better at the moment with the communities. So we commend you, Jason, for doing that. So do we have any questions for Jason? Go ahead, Councilman Burke.
Will this come back in front of council once an investigation is done and the decisions?
yes, actually, we'll probably be back. Actually, we will be back to council when we come up with a dollar amount on what this study is going to cost. We don't have money budgeted currently for this, so we will be coming back asking for money, but that'll be coming out of the wastewater enterprise funds. So,
And where will the decision of where be made?
that's going to be part of the study. So.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Jason, do you have any idea or lean as to whether this will be piped or hauled, or how will you take the?
We'll be hauling it.
Hauling
It'll be
it.
hauled by truck. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilman Kilpack.
I just want to say the same thing the mayor said. I think that's a great idea that Green River and Rock Springs can come together on something. I hope we do it on more things than just this.
Yeah.
That's good for our county and good for the communities.
Definitely.
Yeah. Good. If there aren't any other questions or comments, let's have a motion. Councilman Berg.
Move to authorize the mayor to sign the memorandum of understanding between the city of Rock Springs and the city of Green River to investigate a joint biosolids handling program.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Berg, seconded by Councilwoman Bushman. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item C, consideration to award the 2021 water improvement project.
Mayor, Council, Andy Hooten, City Engineering Department. We have put the 2021 water improvement project out to bid. This project is focused on removing existing 4-inch AC lines and will include upsizing those lines and adding hydrants in as well. This will help with water quality and fire flow. There's the 3 streets that were identified are maintenance nightmares for our city crews, so we want to get in there and get them fixed.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Does anybody have any questions of Andy? Okay, thanks, Andy. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilman, go ahead.
I move to award the 2021 water improvement project to Longhorn Construction Incorporated in the amount of $217,000 or $217,580.50 per the bid, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Shetron, seconded by Councilman Kilpack. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. This comes quite a bit under the engineer's estimate, which is great news. Right? Okay, Andy, so you're standing there. I got a feeling there's something going on here. Consideration to award the 2021 water improvement project materials testing.
So as every time we bring a water project before you, we obviously need to test the soils and the pavements and the backfill along with that. So same thing as in years past, this is a sister contract to the one that comes before it. So this will be materials testing. We solicited local firms, 2 responded, and we're going to go with the lowest number.
Okay, any questions for Andy on this one? Okay, let's entertain a motion.
Mayor.
Councilman Berg.
I move to award a professional services contract to JFC Engineers for construction materials testing services for the 2021 water improvement project in the amount of $7,450 and authorize the mayor to sign the contract.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Berg, seconded by Councilman Zimmerman. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item E, consideration of an agreement with Sweetwater Smoke for the 2021 Art on the Green banquet.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Brad Rainey, Parks and Recreation Director. We do a banquet every year for the Art on the Green, except last year because we didn't have it, and we're excited to have it back. Typically, this is just something we pay out of the budget for this event. This particular business that we're going with just wanted some money down. They're a smaller company to help purchase food and for the banquet. This is quite a bit less expensive than normal for the Art on the Green banquet. Just a quick update on the event. We have 35 artists signed up, which is pretty much full. We have maybe a room for a couple high school kids in that division. So we're getting really excited. It's a great event along with the River Fest for the community.
Good. I love Art on the Green and I love barbecue too. Anybody have any questions of Brad? Okay, let's have a motion then.
Mayor.
Councilwoman Bushman.
I move to approve the agreement between Sweetwater Smoke and the City of Green River for $968.75 as the deposit for the Art of the Green banquet for the remaining balance to be paid on August 21st, 2021 in the amount of $968.75 pending legal approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilwoman Bushman, seconded by Councilman Shetron. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay. Moved by Councilman Zimmerman, seconded by Councilman Berg. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Mr. City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just as a heads up, most of you know, whenever we're going to have our kickoff initiative for the Public Safety and Economic Development Tax Initiative coming up on this Thursday at 4:00 via Zoom. So it's a non-quorum. We're just going to get the mayors and the legal guys together on this. After that, we have come up with an agenda. We're going to go through a number of the discussion points, and then we'll send that out to everybody, and then we'll probably start breaking out into committees and working. But another one, we're trying to help take the lead on this and get this thing moving forward, and excited about it, that it's going to be happening for us and get to go out to vote. There are Main Street, just also update on Main Street. They received 2 grants here, were awarded from at the state level. They're going to do a mapping project, which is basically a kind of a future plan of where Main Street can go. And then another one is working on some historic district like building type stuff. So more details will come out on that, but it's good that we're getting a couple of the grants and we'll be able to move forward with that, with Yori Main Street. It'll tie in a lot with some of the SCDC initiatives that we're trying to do too. So pretty exciting. And also following up with the chamber, we will be now, normally our time for State of the City is in September. So we do have that slot again. We'll be putting together a presentation for that, try to do something a little bit different, but we'll ask 1 or 2 or some of you to come for that and speak on behalf of council. But it's a good event to share everything that's going on with the city at the lunch and learn. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Reed. Galen?
I have no report tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Let's start we'll start with Councilman Kilpack.
I have nothing.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Jost.
I've just had a few comments about deer in town. People have been calling, not a lot, few, but they just wonder if we're going to be doing anything about the deer. And I don't have an answer for them, so I just say, I don't know. But, it's been brought up a lot of times since when I was on the council 20 years ago. It was a big item and it still is, but the deer are still here and it seems to be about the same type of deal. Nobody's sure what to do about them. So, but that's the main comments I had tonight.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably have a few other people that might address it. And I honestly thought you said beer to begin with.
That's a good deal.
Which would have been an easy, honestly, I did think that. And it would have been an easier thing to talk about. And right now, even though I don't drink, I could actually use about a case. But
I'll volunteer to help get rid of it.
Yeah. Is that it, George?
That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Bushman.
Well, I'm just going to coattail on the deer issue, but I actually made a suggestion to the person to create a Facebook group, create a subcommittee herself, and bring it to city council with their ideas and with wild game and fish. Personally, we live in Wyoming. We're in open land. We have rabbits, we have birds, we have worms, we have insects. It's all part of our nature and our culture. I'm going to just say that. The other part is that, tonight was a very hard decision. I actually had a lot of people that did call me that were against it. But I had to go by what was predominantly the main percent of the constituents. And that was why I based the vote on what I did. So I just wanted Jim to know that as well. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Sherry. Councilman Shuttron.
I'd just like to commend everybody on the council for thinking outside the box and having the long discussions that we did about the tower and looking at all different avenues before we finally did come to a vote. Although we're never going to have win-win on every situation. This is just one of those ones that's probably going to not sit well with others, but I commend everybody for the research and stuff that we've done so far.
Well said. Councilman Berg.
I got to say, this is probably one of top 2 since I've been on council as far as toughest decisions we've had to make up here. And the difference with this one was I want to commend the citizens of Green River for the show as far as coming out and saying something. Too often we make decisions up here and we're not sure which side the majority of the people from Green River are on. So I just wanted to say for all the people that emailed, all the people that called, the people that came here, everybody said their piece. So that's all I want to say, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Berg. Councilman Zimmerman.
Shop local, buy American. Thank you.
Very good, Jim. I just want to make it very clear, and I think this is true with Councilman Zimmerman, though I'm not speaking for him. I am not against technology and I'm not against business. I am for technology and I'm for business. We're talking about location, simple as that. Different perceptions for different people. They're both legitimate points of view. So, and I do want to say I attended the Wyoming Association of Municipalities annual conference, which they haven't had for a year or two. I talked to in the vendor show, of which there was several dozen. I talked to every single entity. For instance, the Wyoming Business Council, WAM JPIC, the Water Development Commission, about a dam that we have. And I just wanted them to know that we have some concerns and we need your money. So they're aware of that. And I think that when it comes down to when we move a little farther into the process and we start talking about alternatives that are available to us, at least those people are going to have heard that we have some concerns, and that there are things in which one of the biggest concerns, as in every case that we talk about, even though some we can't, safety is one of the concerns that we have with the dam, right? And they know that now. And I think as we may end up looking to funding to do something about that particular structure, they're going to be aware of our need, and they're going to be aware of it based in large part safety. And that's the most important thing, because I think it puts them in a position that's sensitive, and it's sensitive to our interest. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor,
Councilman Shuttring.
I'd like to make a motion. We adjourn.
Okay, moved by Councilman Shuttring, seconded by Councilman Yost. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. We're adjourned.
You know, it's like have your participant.
Here you,